Allah who praises him, for all you are the praise. And Jesus is the Son. I have to tell my own story. Why I am here on this earth. I don't want someone else telling my story. I got to tell my own truth of what happened and why 3 black women conjured up an evil plan against me. For whatever reason is left to be unknown. Maybe someone paid them. Maybe they're being paid by some other source. So these bitch witches, if you didn't know, now you know. I am disabled, which means I cannot work because I have fibromyalgia, thoracic outlet syndrome, neuropathy in both my feet, and I was told by my doctor to keep pushing. That means keep going. No matter how hard you want to lay down, go to sleep. I'm on Section 8. I'm poor. This is a pandemic. The name of the property is LREI. What it stands for, I have no clue. But I believe it has something to do with something evil. The first bitch witch is a woman named Cherie Harris, whose voice sounds so familiar to me. I think she tried to fraud me before. I remember voices. And I remember talking to her on the phone a couple years ago from Facebook. She wanted me to go to school, online. Wanted me to come to Tennessee so that she could meet me. And then she started talking about body molding. And that threw me for a loop because I'm thinking, did that just slip out her mouth? Or did she really just say something about molding my body? Now, you're supposed to be an online school. The woman's voice sounded that familiar. I then began to hang up on her, and that was that. But not for her. She came all the way to Louisville, Kentucky to try to finish her job of hurting me, of whatever it is that she was set out and being paid to do, or maybe not being paid at all. Maybe I was being judged. They say don't judge a book by its cover. You gotta read people. So this woman immediately judged me and was set out to do this harm. So going down, couple of years pass, I get a new caseworker at Section 8. Her name is Cherie Harris. When I heard the woman's voice, I almost dropped the phone because I talked to this woman for hours and hours about going to school online. Even though I'm disabled, I thought, okay, well, maybe this could be some kind of opportunity for me, a disabled person. Maybe I can do something, But I knew 100% that I couldn't. I knew that it would hurt me. A judge in the court of law of Louisville, Kentucky, told me I could never work again. A judge in Louisville, Kentucky, in a court of law, in front of me, my attorney, and my family, told me I could never work again because I had worked too hard. Okay. And was told that if I did work and not honor the judge's request, I could cripple myself. So I didn't work. I began to get disability that took almost 3 years to get. During that time of disability, I picked up a hobby that would keep me going, keep my mind going, like my doctor said. My doctor is a prestigious doctor here in Louisville, Kentucky, named Dr. Adesoy, who said that this condition is called the hard-working woman disorder, meaning that I was working like a man and not like a woman when I was employed. I was lifting 25, 30, 40, 50-pound boxes by myself. Just doing things that a woman body is not capable of doing, because a man body and a woman's body is totally different from each other, and God made it that way. So I had overworked my body until my hands went numb. I was an assistant DM manager. I ran over 3 stores. I opened up stores by myself. I made a lot of money. Back then, this was 15 years ago. Back then, $65,000 a year was middle class. And that's what I was making. I had a nice home, new car, but I kept working my body to finally my body gave out and said, no more. You're doing the work of 10 men. How? How can you do the work of 10 men? Who has that much energy to do the work of 10 men? Well, I did. And I did it. I moved my family here along with the big promotion. And was living a life. So to jump farther ahead, this caseworker who works in Louisville, Kentucky for the Section 8 department. I had the same caseworker for years. And then all of a sudden, here comes a new caseworker. Now, a caseworker works your case. That means she knows every single thing about you, your address. She knows about it before you do. She was implanted into Section 8 to try to continue her job of whatever it was she was trying to do when she was trying to get me on an online school. I remember your voice. I remember how you talked and how you kept trying to convince me. She is a coercion talker, could probably talk any naive person into anything. Scam artist, fraud, fat bitch, no dick, that one way. So I moved into a home. Mind you, this woman named Crystal, the name of this property was Mirage. Now, the caseworker knew where I was moving before I moved in. And when I say my house was rigged before I moved in with bugs, hearing devices, white powder in the sockets, a sheriff came the day I was moving in and said he had to fix my sockets. And I said, why would a sheriff have to fix my sockets? I'm just now moving in. So I didn't, pay it no mind. And then terrible things started happening, like radiation type shit. And I'm just like, something is making me feel fucked up. It was feeling like I was being boiled from the inside out of living in this home. The woman's name, Crystal, picked up my deposit of $1,200. I wanted to move. The house, I did not like the house. Like I said, I felt like there was some bad things going on. There was always something wrong with the electrical box. Always. And when I saw that powder, look like it could have been, who knows what it was. But why did that sheriff put that in my wall sockets? Now I could see if it was a maintenance man. You know, a maintenance man come and say, hey, I got to do this, that, or another. This was the day that I was moving in. A sheriff came, and how I found out was when he left, my dogs kept sniffing the sockets, sniffing, and their eyes kept watering, and allergies, and then I kept itching, and it was just unreal. It was like me and, my daughter's allergies was out of whack. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I just kept feeling like I was being boiled. My dogs were being boiled. Their eyes were like popping out of their sockets. So something said, look in the sockets. Because I saw the dogs kept sniffing over there. I had 2 dogs. And I happen to open it up, and I see this white powder. Why would a sheriff put white powder in my wall sockets all over my house? Which means that when I plug something in this wall socket, this white powder, or whatever the fuck it is triggering something. I just knew I had to get the fuck out of there. My dog started acting really weird. I just knew something was wrong. I said, this is one of those smart homes. Oh, this is a smart home, which means you are being moved around by Homeland Security. They're following your every move. They are heating you up. As they are heating you up, they are scavenging in you, haunting you, coveting you. And I'm thinking to myself, who would pay somebody to do this to one person that they don't even know? Mind you, I'm disabled. I don't have anything. Why would you target me? So I asked for my deposit back. And they said, we don't have you paying. First they said, you owe 1 month's rent. And I said, ma'am, I moved out on time. So, they just kept throwing me around. And that's what they like to do. They like to throw you around until you forget about it or until you say, fuck it. So after she said she didn't owe me $1,200, I left that house immaculate. Okay? A person could move right in. Every house I've ever lived in, I left like that. I got good reviews from every property management that I've ever lived in for having a clean house, no disturbances, or anything. So, I go get the next house. And I said, I will never rent from them again. It was just some weird shit going on over there. And, here comes this woman again, Crystal, picking up my deposit. She got yellow eyes. And that's how I remember her. Yeah, by the inside of her eyes were yellow as yellow could be, almost like a drunk, And she's acting like she's being professional and all of that. And she's collecting cash money. And this was the house that I just moved from. And I'm thinking to myself, didn't you just work at Mirage Properties? I'm renting from LREI now. Where the fuck did you come from, honey? She said, oh yeah, I don't work there anymore. I work here. And I told my daughter, I said, that's the same lady who picked up my deposit from where we lived at, where the sheriff came and put some shit in my sockets. Picked up my deposit. So anyway, I had to move. Similar things were going on, and this, that, and another. Like I said, it's like they got smart houses and they are trying to control you, from within the smart houses and signals and thermal, heating you up or, thermal, whatever. I don't know. Cyber, And I'm thinking to myself, where did this woman come from? So I had to move because my daughter moved out and, my house was too big. So I said, okay, I gotta go ahead and move and downsize or whatever. But at first, the caseworker who I said her voice sounds very familiar, told me that I could not move and that I had to stay there. Even though my daughter left with her 2 kids, and this is a 4-bedroom house, I'm disabled. My son was there, but he's in and out, in and out, in and out, And I'm thinking to myself, yes, well, first she told me, she says, you can't move. And I said, why? And she said, because it's a pandemic and we're not moving anybody. And I said, well, I already gave a 30-day notice. You know, I'm on Section 8 and I have to follow the rules. And, I started this process in December. Okay, during this process, she just kept saying she wasn't getting my paperwork. I was dropping the papers off. My daughter was emailing her my paperwork. And she was still saying she wasn't getting it. And she kept saying she got one page, but she don't have the other page. And I'm like, but it was all sent together. Mind you, I still remember her voice. So I let my daughter handle it. I'm like, go ahead, you talk to this bitch. Because, every time I talk to her, it reminds me of that whole situation. So then, I don't know, something making me itch. So then, she kept saying, you can't move, you can't move. When come to find out, Section 8 never stopped moving people, even during a pandemic. If you had to move, they were accommodating you and you could move. So, upon the fat bitch kept saying she didn't get my paperwork, she didn't get my paperwork, time is passing, and LREI rented out the place that I was living in while I was still living in the place. They had took deposit money and all of that. Remember, this is the same girl named Crystal who is picking up people deposits, and making sure that you don't see it anymore. That is her fee, I guess. Even though you're on Section 8, you are not allowed to charge anybody any type of fees. They just totally ignored that. And I said, oh, she's hopping from property to property. One day you're going to get caught, and hopefully today is the day. Because who knows how much money you have embezzled and stolen from innocent people through the Section 8 program. Because Section 8 has a spot on their application that says you can put the deposit in, the amount of the deposit in after the person moves in. Or you can leave it blank. So all you have is your receipt. So then you got a person that's implanted in Section 8 who has written in the amount, which is $1,100 less than what you paid, and they have made that $100. So you got a receipt saying, I gave her $1,200. I know I did. Here's my receipt. But no, Section 8 says right here at the deposit, you only gave $100. Now, we can fight this in court. I mean, so of course you're on Section 8, you're like, what the fuck? Did this woman just, how? Why would Section 8 conspire with this bitch to take people deposits and change the paperwork on the inside? Inside job. Same bitch, Cherie Harris from Tennessee. Same bitch whose voice sounded so familiar, I would never forget her voice. And I know that that is her because she is from Tennessee. And that's where she wanted me to come to meet her. And started talking about body molding. Body molding? Body coding? Body molding? You body coding? Why? Why? Why would you want to body code me? Is what I was trying to figure out. Like, there are so many other people that you could body code that work, that's rich, that has money. Why in the fuck would you want to body code me? I'm disabled. Oh, a man targeted you. A man coveted you. Yeah, he coveted you. Sought you out. And was all into this game, saying he had power. Saying he's a warlock. And all that shit. And you know who I'm talking about. He planted himself everywhere that I lived. Why? The same man that wouldn't stay more than 5 minutes to hold a conversation with me, but would constantly ask me for money out of my disability check to help him pay for his broke down ass car, with promising me to pay me back. Oh, all y'all from Tennessee, Nashville, a whole bunch of scam artists buying your shit off the black web, buying your information off the black web. Yeah, they paying $10. Body coding you, all that shit. Fucking with your house, electric panels, all that shit. Giving motherfuckers COVID-19 through the phone, putting through viruses one way or another. Walking around with black hoods on and shit like that. Bullshit. I don't know this man from shit to Sherlock. Still don't know him. Never knew him. Know nothing about him. But he seems to know everything about me.